The Orville, gently falling rain. This is a hard one. Hey everybody, this is Tom with Tom's Tech Show, and I do love the Orville, and all the episodes are just most of them are just so rewatchable and everything else. But it's taken me a while to kind of go through, try and get some thoughts, try to get behind what was going on in this episode, Gently Falling Rain. And it's pulled a lot from the news today and what's going on, which was Star Trek. I mean, they did episodes that directly made commentary about some specific subjects. Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, pulling this right off the top of my head, where you have Loki and forget the other character's name, but they from the planet Charon, I think, or something like that. Man, my brain. But they thought of them as being the same, but then it's like, no. One of them was black on the right side, and the other one was white on the right side, and that was enough to cause division and destruction, making huge comments about race, and it's not about your color of your skin. It's that you're a person, you're a human being, you have God-given rights, as stated so eloquently in the United States Constitution. So, and that's what Star Trek was making comments about it so poignantly, and they made comments about wars and things like that. Like I think it's Vietnam, or was that Korea? Might have been Korea back then. I don't think we were in Vietnam in the mid '60s. So this episode, I mean, this episode we're doing some things about some election that's going on in the. Let me get my notes. This is just so much was going on. The Krill are having an election, right? So this one guy here is Bruce Boxleitner. Okay. I didn't even catch that. I'm just looking at the characters being played. Bruce Boxleitner, amazing. Love it. Okay, just saw that. And the election, the one guy who thinks he's going to win and everything else, he's suddenly the last minute, he's so confident, and the last minute votes just switch completely, and suddenly he's lost. And the one who has won is so that, I mean, I don't know if they're thinking like that this guy was Trump, but this guy was they're trying to make parallels, I think, to the Trump Biden election a little bit. So I don't know, I mean, if this guy is kind of mirroring Trump, he's the guy who's creating peace treaties. I mean, Trump made peace treaties in the Middle East, unprecedented treaties in the Middle East, that he has not won any kind of peace prize for, which I would think would be an obvious thing to do. But so he's he's thinking he's won everything else, and if he's the the Trump figure, then it's it's Talia, or whatever her name is, when we get over to the picture of that. I wish they would put these in order. So here that she's taken out, she's won the election, but she's brutal. She, is very isolationist. She's very centered in not having any treaties, not helping anyone, not doing anything, and killing all of her opponents and things like that. Just very, I don't know who they're trying to portray, right? Are they trying to say that this was more like the 2016 election, that the previous person was all magnanimous and lovely and wanting to make all these treaties and help everybody, and then along comes this other character who locks everything down, destroys everything, gets rid of everybody, and they're having that be like, this should have been kind of the Trump Hillary kind of election time, or what. I don't know. I don't quite really know what they're trying to parallel. Um, but that was just interesting, that they're throwing this election, or they're just saying let's just have some crazy election and have it go crazy and have people try and challenge it and stuff, because that's what was going on. Oh, we can challenge this election thing. So more election fun, I guess, in the whole thing. And then of course it's Leah, who is from past episodes, you know was disguised as human and was on the ship, and got the captain all at Ed all involved and everything, trying to find out about you know humans and ways to exploit them and stuff like that. So, but then we find out that there's a child between the two of them, and you can see they've done the makeup so that it's like half krill, half human, and the name of the child is translated to be Gently Falling Rain, which is, you know, very nice. And the thing that comes out is in this is, if we would take the child and move it to the forefront, move it into the public, then that would maybe foster better relations between human and krill, between the Union and the krill. But you would need someone other than Tlaia to do that, to be there, because I don't think she's going to bend in any point on this. So at one point, all of the go back here to another image shot. All the people that are in the group that land on Krill, so that they can finalize the treaty after the election and everything else, they are all taken into custody and all going to be killed. And this is where it kind of gets a little bit rough for me. I would think that at some point it's a very hard decision, right? I wouldn't. So what the Union does is they dispatch all the ships that they have to Krill into a ginormous space battle to save these 6 or 7 people. And that is such a hard decision, because they probably lost, hundreds, if not thousands of people, in the battle to save these 6. And I would think that somehow you could have come up with a better covert kind of, pick, some of your elite, soldiers that you have, and be able to go and do some kind of, almost like what, they did, but without the big battle, right? They had a shuttle, had some people disguised as krill to go in and kind of manipulate things and sneak into things and get them out. Could you have done that without, ensuing this ginormous 100-craft battle? Yes, I know it's a lot of special effects and you need to have work for the special effects people to do, but I think a better story might have been to just do the covert part. Right from the beginning. Once you lose communication with them, boom, we're to this, Operation 21 or whatever it was, Directive 21 that they're calling it, and people get they'll disguise themselves as krill and sneak in and do all this stuff, and then for some reason they decide to go into the, as we've recently had with Supreme Court. It's kind of odd because these things were written a long time ago, and it's very odd that who would have thought that right when this was being released, like a few days after, the Supreme Court would have a ruling on something that's in the episode. It's very, very, very interesting. And so they are talking. So Ed and Leah are talking, and Ed says, "Well, you could have, gotten rid of the child at any point." And she says, "No, we don't do that here. We don't get rid of any children here. All children are born." And Ed doesn't understand that because I guess in the future they're so enlightened that, they can discard of whatever. I'm have to be careful on this side of the channel. I mean, over my talk show, I could just probably blurt out and go through whatever I want, which is where I put that stuff. But here, I mean, in the episode, some Krill parents, they said had gotten rid of their child before it was born. So their punishment, part of their punishment was to use simulations of their combined DNA to create a simulation of their child and have them be able to see and interact with their child as if it had been born and had grown up to be like 5 or 6 years old. And I mean, that would be, it would be devastating, right? You're seeing this child that you got rid of, right? And what, there's more of the battle, and how that is going to emotionally affect you. So Ed being, them writing this episode as if they're, because they're bound by Hollywood and Hollywood rules, and and all those very left-leaning ideals. Myself, I lean more on the Krill side, right? I'm very much, like, yeah, if you are, do whatever you're gonna do, and a child comes out of that, have the child, right? I would say that, being a guy, I would say, when I was young, if something like that had happened, then I would say, listen, you do the 9 months, I'll do the other 18 years, right? That would be my position and on the thing. So, I mean, I've been married for 30 years, so it's, our kid's grown, but that was not the situation back then. But just thinking out loud here, that would be my position. But I was grown up in God-fearing, family, and with church and God always being, in my mind and everything else. So it really pushed me towards, yeah, the Krill are kind of right in this area of what they're doing, where the show was trying to say, wow, how horrible is it that you do this to people? And it really hit me like, yeah, it really slapped me back to say, yep, this, as much as I love all of the special effects, the storylines and things that they are, that this is still a product out of Hollywood. And I need to kind of take myself back sometimes to that. So, yeah. But I mean, everything else, all the action and everything else, trying to help them escape and get them out of there, and everything else during, the whole thing, and the characters and things. I mean, they had this cowboy scene at the beginning and stuff, which was, extremely cool and fun. The banter back on the table and everything else was very, very fun. It's still a very fun show, so written very smartly and all that stuff. But I just have to keep remembering, reminding myself that this is, a product of Hollywood, and many of those ideals and ideas are gonna come through. All right. So wow, that was a hard one to get through. Hopefully, I mean, I waited most of the week, tonight, later in just like an hour and 13 minutes from when I'm recording this. The next episode is going to come out, so we'll see. Hopefully, that will be A Tale of Two Topas, I think it is. So that should be a pretty humorous episode. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching. What did you think of the episode? Did you have issues with the whole child viewing, simulation thing at the end? Are you, did you catch on that, or did you also have problems with them, sending hundreds of ships to a battle and kill thousands of people to save the five? Right? Was there another way to go in the end on that? Yeah, that really, really kind of twisted it around. So, what'd you think? Like, share, subscribe, and comment on that down below. Thank you everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I passed 2,000 subscribers. So thanks for everybody for subscribing and hanging in with me as I make all these videos. Hopefully I keep making content that you like. And thanks for watching. Take care.